truth is harsh. Most men miss out on women who were genuinely interested in them. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they were emotionally blind. She gave signals, got closer, tested the waters, and he simply didn't notice. Not out of neglect, but out of lack of perception. What's fascinating is that these signs are constant. When a woman likes you, she shows it all the time. But she won't say it in words, because real feminine desire reveals itself between the lines, in gestures, in details. There's a silent code running beneath every interaction, a system of nonverbal language that few people truly understand, yet it influences everything. These signs aren't just ways of flirting, they're methods of evaluation. She's testing your emotional intelligence, your masculine presence, your inner control. She's asking with her eyes and her body, are you the kind of man who can read what's happening here, even if I don't say a word? This video is going to open your eyes, because the 5 signs you're about to learn are what separate men who experience real connection from those who spend their lives guessing what's going on in a woman's head. And here's the core truth. You don't need to guess anymore. You just need to learn how to pay attention. What once seemed confusing will now become clear, practical, even fun. And the best part, these signals apply to women of any age, style, or background. It's universal. Why is this so important? Because once you learn how to identify her signals, you stop chasing and become the man she's trying to win over. You step into your place as someone who understands people, who isn't fooled by appearances, and who knows his own value. That's the kind of presence that attracts real women and repels shallow relationships. Get ready to dive into a level of insight that will make you more aware, magnetic, and confident. This isn't about techniques, it's about vision. And vision changes everything, especially when she senses that you've finally started to see. Sign number 1, the prolonged gaze and selective attention. There's something primal, almost instinctual, in the way a woman looks at a man she genuinely desires. It's not just a glance, it's a silent dance of the eyes, a prolonged gaze that cuts through the room like emotional radar. The strange thing is that most men miss this signal. They're too caught up in thinking what to say, or whether they should make a move. Little do they know she already made hers. Feminine psychology speaks little, but observes deeply. And when she watches you with focused attention, she's saying more than words ever could. When a man with sharp emotional awareness picks up on this, everything changes. Listen closely. When she looks at you, glances away slowly, and then looks again in short intervals, that's not random. That's a form of selective attention, where she's testing not only if you notice, but how you respond. Men with natural self-confidence don't get rattled by this. They hold the gaze, not as a challenge, but with a calm, grounded presence. Masculine presence isn't about being the tallest guy in the room, but the one who's most centered. That kind of energy triggers what the Stoics would call silent recognition of value. In other words, she feels you're not easily shaken, and that's magnetic. A man who knows how to read these attraction signals doesn't rush, and doesn't sabotage himself. He understands that every gesture carries intention. He doesn't respond with desperation, but with personal composure. A practical example. Next time a woman locks eyes with you twice in a row, don't look away. Take a breath, hold her gaze for 2 seconds, then offer a subtle smile, and return to what you were doing. That communicates stable masculine energy. Most men fail because they overreact, and that kills the mystery. Women don't seek obvious answers, they seek resonance. One more thing. This game of eye contact isn't meant to be won, it's meant to be understood. Often, her subconscious interest shows up before she even understands why. That's where your refined awareness comes in. Nonverbal language screams where words hesitate. So read the context. If she's looking at you while talking to someone else, if she seeks your gaze in group settings, if you notice micro smiles or hidden grins, these are quiet invitations. And not every invitation comes with a formal envelope. These gazes aren't always followed by obvious actions. Sometimes they're feminine tests of perception, of sensitivity, of authentic masculinity. She wants to see if you notice what others miss. If you have social perception, if you can read the moment without her having to draw you a diagram. And when you do, when you show her that you see the invisible calmly without trying too hard, that's when she gives you something rare, silent validation. That only happens when she feels she's in the presence of a man who sees what most can't. And here's the turning point. Many think they need to say something clever, drop a pickup line, or show off their power. But often real power lies in not doing, in observing with stillness, in answering with a firm gaze, in showing intuitive behavior rather than a rehearsed act. A man who does that attracts not just by what he says, but by what he represents. And when she feels that presence, things start unfolding long before you say a single word. Sign number 2, innocent touches and the power of nonverbal language. There's a kind of touch that's anything but accidental, yet never too obvious. It's that oops moment women use when they want to feel your energy up close. A light brush on your arm, a hand that lingers just a second too long, adjusting her clothes while standing beside you. These tiny gestures are part of feminine psychology, speaking volumes without saying a word. For the aware man, these details never go unnoticed. It's nonverbal language operating at its most subtle and most powerful. And once you learn to read it, you're playing an entirely different game. Here's the issue. A lot of men sabotage themselves in this moment. They overthink. They analyze. Did she do that on purpose? Am I imagining things? And then the moment slips away. A man with genuine self-confidence doesn't need absolute certainty to respond naturally. He answers the touch with a calm smile, a light comment, keeping his masculine presence steady and grounded. That's the key, staying natural. Women instantly sense when a man is uncomfortable, and it kills the vibe. That's why keeping your male self-esteem in check is essential during these exchanges. It's not about reacting with arrogance, but with grace. When she moves closer, the mature man doesn't freeze up or rush in. He observes, responds with warmth, and shows intuitive behavior. Want a real-life example? If she touches your necklace or compliments your cologne, playfully respond. Careful, you might get addicted to this. That's personal mastery in action. You're reading the cue, playing along, and proving you're not just a spectator, but someone who gets the game and plays it elegantly. These touches usually come with subtle micro-expressions. Small smiles, a sideways glance, a slight lip bite. That's her subconscious interest making an appearance. And if the man ignores those signs, she assumes he's not ready. Here's the key. Most women won't try again. They watch how selective your attention is. If you miss what's right in front of you, or better, right in your hands, she quietly pulls away and gives that energy to someone who knows what to do with it. This kind of interaction is also one of those classic female tests. Not to trap you, but to measure your sensitivity. Women admire men who notice details without becoming clingy or desperate. Men who can hold the tension without forcing it. Who respond with subtlety, firm eye contact, relaxed posture. That's masculine energy in motion. The rare blend of strength and softness that melts her emotional defenses without saying a word. So, if you want to improve this skill, train it. Observe more, talk less. Be present. Practice your emotional reading throughout your day, with friends, family, even watching movies. Try to notice what's happening beyond the words. This refinement will transform your social perception and position you as a man who sees what others miss. And once you start seeing, you'll begin to predict the next signals she's about to send. Sign number 3, subtle initiative and assertive communication. One of the clearest ways a woman shows interest is when she initiates contact without making it look like a big deal. It's subtle, but it's pure intention wrapped in coincidence. A random message out of the blue, a question she already knows the answer to, bringing up some trivial topic just to keep the connection going. That's her making space. And here's the twist. She wants you to read between the lines. That's where assertive communication comes in. The man who gets this doesn't hesitate, doesn't act insecure. He responds with clarity, ease, and presence. Many think that taking the lead is always a man's job, and in part, it is. But when a woman is truly interested, she moves. She makes herself visible, even if indirectly. The secret lies in noticing how much effort she puts into keeping the conversation alive, even when there's not much to say. That's a clear sign of subconscious interest, which often shows more in frequency than in depth. A man with balanced male self-esteem knows this is her way of opening the door, and he walks through it, calmly, confidently, without arrogance. The most common mistake? Overcompensating. Many men start oversharing, talking too much, justifying themselves, trying to impress. That ruins the mystery. The ideal response is to act with authentic masculinity, replying with firmness while gently steering the conversation. A well-placed answer, a direct question, an unexpected compliment. These show personal mastery, avoid neediness, and create a space where the connection deepens. The balance between strength and softness is what makes her feel safe and drawn to you. Need a practical example? If she sends you something random like, "This meme reminded me of you," reply with something like, "Either you thought about me, or you're just looking for an excuse to chat," and toss in a light emoji. That's intuitive behavior. You read the context, picked up on the hidden intent, and responded with humor and presence. That kind of subtlety is one of the foundations of feminine psychology. A man who masters this gets on her radar as someone who understands real connection. And that's gold. These feminine moves are also quiet tests. Female tests to see if you're overly reactive or emotionally grounded. What she really wants to know is, are you paying attention? Are you centered? Will you lead, or wait for everything to fall into your lap? Silent validation happens when she realizes you not only got the signal, but responded in a balanced way, without begging for approval. That's steady, secure masculine energy. And here's the magic: the clearer and calmer your communication, the more she opens up. Because female selective attention works like emotional sonar. She notices not just what you say, but how, when, and whether you speak from need or from choice. When a man speaks with presence, she feels it. And when she feels it, she responds with more signals, deeper, stronger, and more revealing. Sign number 4, physical proximity and the feminine instinct. When a woman is into a man, she finds ways to be near him, even without a clear reason. Sometimes it's as simple as sitting close, standing next to him in a crowded room, or coming up with an excuse to share the same space. This physical proximity is one of the most primal and instinctive ways she expresses interest. The feminine instinct works like a quiet magnet, pulling her toward the gravitational field of a man who radiates something different. And that something is usually masculine presence, a steady, calm energy she feels without you having to say a single word. The aware man knows this isn't random. There's a pattern. She may not say it out loud, but she shows it. That's why cultivating sharp emotional reading is essential. When she steps into your personal space naturally or frequently positions herself nearby, she's sending signals. The real question is, do you have the social perception to catch it? Most guys miss these gestures because they're waiting for something more obvious. But women operate in subtleties. She tests the waters first, and that, again, is pure feminine psychology. She's watching how you respond to her closeness, whether you shut down or stay open. A common mistake is becoming invasive the moment she opens up. The real move is to match her energy with respect and confidence. That's assertive communication, noticing her approach and keeping your energy calm. A practical example: when she sits next to you, don't lean in too fast or start with rehearsed lines. Say something genuine about the room, about something she's wearing, or simply offer a relaxed smile. The masculine energy she wants to feel isn't anxious, it's balanced. A man with real self-confidence doesn't rush, he leads effortlessly. Refined male self-esteem shows when a man isn't surprised by a woman's approach. He knows his worth. That's why he acts natural when she's close, not trying to prove anything, not putting on a performance. Quite the opposite, he simply is. And that being has a powerful effect on her. Her body reads that stability as safety, as trust, as desire that doesn't need to be spoken. When she feels that, she lets go even more and starts revealing deeper, more intense layers of interest. Of course, this is also part of the ongoing female tests. She wants to see if being close to you shifts your behavior. Will you act like an eager teenager, or stay that centered man who drew her attention in the first place? This type of closeness requires personal mastery. Don't rush, don't get needy, don't try to speed things up. The man who respects her pace, but leads with grounded energy wins without needing to chase. And as a reward, he earns silent validation, something few men ever receive. She wants to feel like she can be close without being pressured, that she can show interest without being drowned in expectations. And the man who gets that builds a true emotional connection. One that goes beyond words and settles in the rhythm between bodies, in the pauses, in the comfort of shared silence. And when that kind of connection happens, more signals begin to show up, clearer, deeper, and unmistakable. Sign number 5, subtle vulnerability and the desire for emotional connection. When a woman begins to open up emotionally with you, even just a little, pay close attention. That's no accident. It's a quiet invitation, a gesture of trust she doesn't offer to just anyone. Talking about her fears, sharing a silly childhood memory, hinting at insecurities in a disguised way. All of that is subtle vulnerability. And it only happens when she senses that the man in front of her has enough authentic masculinity to hold that space without judgment. This is one of the clearest signs of subconscious interest. She's looking to build something deeper than surface-level attraction. This is when a wise man doesn't interrupt, doesn't try to fix things, doesn't minimize her words. He listens. He stays present. He shows that he understands the greatest gift you can give a woman is a safe space where she can just be herself. That's a powerful form of assertive communication, listening with your eyes, your body, your full attention. No distractions, no canned responses. A woman who feels that kind of presence experiences a level of silent validation, so rare that she begins to see you as someone set apart from the rest. And different in a woman's mind almost always equals desirable. A man with well-developed male self-esteem doesn't feel the need to fill every silence. He doesn't try to fix her. He stands there like a harbor, not a hero. That's personal mastery in action. It radiates a masculine energy that is steady, protective, and mysteriously attractive. A real-world example? If she shares something personal, all you need to say is, "I get it, thanks for trusting me with that." Simple, deep, human. That moment will echo more than any rehearsed monologue. Because often, she's not looking for advice, she's looking for presence. This kind of conversation also reveals how emotionally invested she's becoming. She doesn't open up like that to just anyone. If she's seeking your presence to talk about her feelings, her thoughts, or what she experiences when she's with you, that's a strong sign of emotional connection. Feminine psychology is deeply associative. She links emotions to faces, moments to meaning. And if she starts associating your presence with peace and relief, you become emotionally irreplaceable. Of course, none of this happens by accident. Before reaching that point, she noticed your selective attention, your ability to read the room, your respect for timing, and your skill in listening without judging. She picked up on your sharp emotional reading, your calm reactions, and your balance, even when she was being emotionally raw. These are the attraction signals that most men overlook, because they're too busy looking for smiles or stares, when the real signal is in the quiet unveiling of the soul, in the soft exposure of wounds, in trusting without words. That's when the game changes. Because when a woman feels she's found a man who's emotionally available, but not needy, strong but not hard, stable but not cold, she leans in. She invests. She begins to give more and more of herself. And once that flow begins, the signs that follow become even more clear, more frequent, and more revealing. Now you know the signs were always there. You just needed someone to show you how to see them. What you choose to do with this knowledge, that defines who you'll be moving forward. Will you keep ignoring the silent invitations life and women keep offering you? Or will you start acting with more clarity, more personal mastery, more masculine presence? These 5 signs aren't just hints. They're gateways to deeper, more authentic, more powerful connections. Think about it. How many chances have you missed simply because you didn't know how to interpret a look, a touch, or a moment of closeness? Is it possible that right now someone around you is sending one of these very signals, and you're not seeing it? This is your chance to flip the script, to go from passive to active, to stop being the guy who asks, "What did she mean by that?" and become the man who understands what she's feeling, before she even realizes it herself. The real transformation begins when you realize that feminine psychology isn't learned just from books, but from full awareness. From emotional reading, from social perception, from presence. This isn't about pleasing women. It's about understanding what drives their behavior and responding with calm, truth, and authentic masculinity. A man who gets this doesn't just attract, he earns respect. He inspires desire. He invites surrender. Now I want to hear from you. Which of the 5 signs opened your eyes the most today? And tell me, have you ever experienced one of these signals in real life, but didn't realize it at the time? Share your story in the comments. It might help another man who's on the same path. And if you want to leave your personal mark below, comment, "Now I see." If you made it this far, my deepest thanks. It's rare to find someone willing to learn about something this subtle and this powerful. If this video spoke to you, give it a like, share it with that one friend who's always confused by women's signals, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss out. There's still so much more to explore about attraction, perception, and the art of becoming a true man.